Steve here, Eric here, BicycleDoctorUSA.com. We're going to show you how to put a Ritchey breakaway Outback together today. We already have a how to pack video on YouTube, so you'll want to perhaps watch it even first before you see this one. We've kind of going to do an abbreviated version. We've taken it out of the case. All the packing is already off. Usually takes longer to take the packing off than it does to actually do the setup. And in this case, we've done a couple things here. We've already got the front brake rotor on. We're going to put the rear rotor on. No need to see both of those. And then we've also got the rear derailleur already mounted back onto the derailleur hanger. We recommend taking those off when you pack so that you don't damage your derailleur. Some cases on large frames you have to take the fork out if you're using the hard case, not all but some, and then the front brake is already mounted to the caliper there. Sometimes you take them off, sometimes you don't, depends. But in this case, we've got it on there. It's only 2 bolts, so it doesn't take any time. So we're actually going to get started here. So the first thing you do is to put the 2 halves of the frame together. We have a shop stand, you'll notice there in the background, but when you're in the motel room or traveling, you won't have a shop stand, so I'll let you do it the way we do it. Put the 2 halves of the frame together, put the seat post in, and that'll actually hold the frame together then. Okay, good. And then after he secures those 2 bolts on the frame and the seat post, he'll put the frame coupler on. I think though in this case he might slip the handlebars. We'll see. Let's let Eric do it here. I think he's going to. It takes 4 tools. That's all it takes to set this up. You want to have your. You'll probably have your small fold up. I'll call it the Swiss bicycle tool. Has a multi-tool, in other words. And he's going to put the handlebars on first here. And the reason why, once those handlebars are on, he'll flip this bike upside down, and he can just slip the wheels on. Won't have to have no balancing act or anything. So we're about 2 minutes into it now, and it's normally most people can set a bike up in 10 to 15 is pretty common once it's out of the packing. I call it's like a puzzle. You're learning how to put the puzzle together. It's going to make you a better bike rider. You understand how your bike goes together and how it works. Certainly sometimes little tweaks that need to be done out on the road. You're the head mechanic, so you might as well know how to do them. There's no mechanic on the road with you. This bike here is all mechanical. Most of the Ritcheys we build today seem to be electronic. You'll have no cables, so it's very, very simple. You don't even have to mess with cables anymore on the gearing. Okay, now this is what I was talking about earlier. He's just flipping it upside down, so be easy to work with. The rear wheel has the rotor off. Eric, would you pull that cassette off real quick and just slip it back on? When we ship these, or when you pack them, you take your cassette out, and if you lay that wheel flat on the floor, it doesn't take any space in the case. Saves you a little over 3 inches, and 3 inches 29 by 29 extra packing space. Cassette just goes in, no tools, comes out, no tools. Okay, and this is the part he's going to take this bike's a through axle, so he's taking the through axle out. Okay. I'm going to put a rotor on it here, I think, here in just a second, though, before he goes any farther.
Yeah, we better.
Yeah, better do that. This is, if you're using the Ritchey special wheels, it's center lock. And you just tighten it down. So you need to take 4 tools with you, or use your multi-tool, as I've mentioned. Okay, so that's good to go. Now we're going to slip that wheel in. Just working the rotor down between the brake into the frame. There we go. So that's pretty simple. And just tighten it down to the correct torque. If you don't have that feel, you want to use a torque wrench, but you'll certainly acquire that feel. Running the chain now. While the bike's upside down, he'll probably hook up his rear brake coupler. Okay, we're about 4 minutes into it now. You can see and getting pretty close to the end. Now the pedals, you'll have your own pedals. Make sure you get the right pedal on the right side, the left pedal on the left side, always forward to tighten, always backwards to remove. And I would recommend having pedals that have an Allen wrench to take them off and on, so you don't have to have a pedal spanner or pedal wrench, whatever you want to call it there. That's the clamp of the frame going on. You'll use a torque wrench on that. We're just kind of roughing it out here. Your Ritchey has a multi-bit torque wrench, so if you don't have that feel for the handlebar stem and all these nuts and bolts, the torque works. And there we go. Now the front axle's going in. We're 5 minutes into it now, so we'll hook up the cables. And we recommend, after you get it all together, check all your adjustments before the ride. Make sure everything's torqued correctly. Make sure the gears are working correctly. Make sure the brakes are working correctly. If you, it's much easier to do it before the ride than on the ride. Okay. Sort out which cable is which. That's the rear brake. Get a little bit closer look here. The little fittings go right into the frame. We call them the cable ferrules. Go in and it slides into the slot, and the two halves of the brake go together. Okay, now we're going to hook up the derailleur cable. Make sure when you route your cables, all the cables are not wrapped, wrapped or crossed or anything. Of course, this bike doesn't have it on there, but once you have your bike, have a mark on your seat so you can go right back to the the same adjustment. You don't have to mess around with it. So basically, there it is. Just a quick check of the gears and brakes and ready to ride. Well, thanks for watching. This is Steve and Eric at BicycleDoctorUSA.com. We love our Ritcheys. I use one every day and travel with the same bike. And I'll say for sure, be your favorite bike. Thanks again. Bye.